Hey everybody, this is the second video, and I'm going to try to talk about the topics that I created over time, but honestly, I probably will fail. But I do have a funny story. Yesterday I was playing disc golf, which is one of the hobbies I've taken up as an older dude, and it's a lot of fun, but in fact, you can probably see I have maybe right over my shoulder, let's see, there, right there, a bunch of discs. I don't know why it was important to show you that, but it's a blast. In any case, I was throwing off the second tee at Ben Garin White, and it's a 300-foot shot. I had a fairly stable driver in my hand and vroom, getting ready to throw it, and I overstepped the end of the, what do you call it, the tee pad. It's some concrete little runway, if you will. Overstepped the end of it, spun around as I was falling, and I remember thinking to myself, normally I would try to catch myself and not fall, but I remember just go with it because I could feel my ankle. And it's weird to think that I would think that fast, but I was like, just go down. So I went all the way down, fell down, and I got a boo-boo even. Look at that, boo-boo. But anyways, just kind of a funny story. That's the second time that's happened to me. The first time it happened, I was actually walking back from, let me adjust that, we were walking from the 10th tee to the 11th tee box. And it was like a little ditch, and my ankle just went work and went over pretty hard, and I was just done. I had to leave for that day because I rolled my ankle pretty good. But in any case, yeah, so it's dangerous. It's a tough sport, that old disc golf. But thought I'd start it off with that good funny story. I know if my wife would have been there, whew, that's her thing, man. People falling down. She does this thing over her mouth and she can't breathe because she's laughing so hard. And one of the things I really love about her, but it's not because she's merciless, it's just because she thinks that kind of crap is funny. So anyway, today I'm going to talk a little bit about my parents, but in a different way. So my mom wasn't real touchy-lovey. She was, I think, provision-lovey. You know, she just made sure I always had what I needed. Very unselfish woman. Miss her a lot. She's been dead for about 1.5 years. My dad, being in the Air Force and also having maybe a rough upbringing, I guess, at least that's what he told me. Just was kind of a hands-off dad. I mean, there were times where we wrestled and stuff, and I remember laughing so hard I almost peed my pants one time because wrestling with him as a kid. And then I remember being out in the yard a few times, throwing the ball. But that's what I kind of want to talk about, because I've talked with my kids about, they're older now, they're grown up, most of them. And a lot of them have bad memories with me, surprise. And I find it kind of weird, and I wonder if my dad feels the same way, because they remember the bad things. They remember the things where you lost your cool, where you went over the top, where you surprised them. That seems to be the most, where they didn't think they were doing something that deserved being in trouble, perhaps, but got in trouble. They don't remember the things where you drove to Tulsa with them, or what else have we done? Like take them to their dance lessons, or, get them involved in a soup kitchen, or, something like that. I mean, they remember those things. They might remember them, but they don't remember them with the love and the fervor and the zeal that you had as a parent, that you were going to instill this wonderful memory. I'll just use my oldest son as an example, because I think he was one of the ones that I was busiest with because I was younger and, a more, I would say, active dad. But we would go, because he amazing at soccer, and you could tell from a very young age. And not only that, he wanted to get better, and he made it known that he wanted to get better. So that's what I felt like my goal was as the dad, was to help him get better, which I probably should have been a little not as fervent about his request because he was just a kid. And in any case, he was quite an amazing soccer player. So we got to go to a lot of places based off of his skills, right? So we would take him to tournaments in Dallas or Oklahoma, in Tulsa area. I remember when we lived in Colorado, we went down to Arizona and played some soccer tournaments and stuff. But in any case, oh yeah, his mom she's always so cost conscious, you know, I mean, she's a pretty wise woman. Pack us this big cooler full of various wonderful foods. Like, she would boil literally, it seems like 3 dozen eggs so that we would have this big gallon Ziploc bag full of eggs with salt and pepper on them. These protein balls that she would make and everything, and we would take those with us. And then it was like, I'd look at Christian, we're like, let's go get something to eat. Let's go out. We're not at home. Let's go get something to eat. But those are memories that I have of that. His memories are more like when you yelled at me and, you know, that kind of thing. And it's disappointing. And then my point is that your intentions as a parent to instill a memory have little to do with what their memory will actually be. You know, you can only try and do positive things, and maybe some positive ones will be remembered. But for the most part, they're going to remember what they remember, the things that kind of shock them or, I mean, it's like you or me. Like, I only remember things that were intense, maybe. You know, like, okay, I've got a stupid memory of Charlie Mills. When I lived in Maine, we played on Little League Baseball. And Charlie Mills was a good kid, handsome dude, threw the ball hard. He was striking out our whole side and stuff. But I was up and I was like, man, he's throwing strikes, and I'm just gonna swing the bat. And I swung the bat, I got a hit. It was nothing great, I got on base, you know. But that kind of mindset that year won me a trophy, a batting title trophy. In fact, I gave it to my son because he hit a grand slam this year. It was an in the park grand slam, but it was a legit one because it wasn't like they were throwing it to first and they missed and he'd go to second. It was, he hit it and it bounced on the ground, hit the fence, and he was able to clear the bases and get around the bases before they got it to the infield. So I'm counting that. That is a legit grand slam home run in my opinion. So he got my batting title trophy. It was from 1978 or 79, and I still had that. So I gave it to him as his reward. And he showed appreciation. You know, I think he liked it and stuff. But that's what I wanted to talk about today about parents. Is when after we buried my mom, and after, well, we didn't bury her, she was cremated, but after that, Dad moved to Arizona, wanted his house sold, you know, and so there we were with a bunch of stuff. And then the funny thing is I didn't know what he wanted to keep, what he didn't want to keep, so I had kids coming over saying, hey, does anybody want any of this stuff? Otherwise, we're just throwing it away. I mean, and that got me thinking, like, about my trophy. I had that trophy literally, I'm 59. I just gave it away. I got it in 1979. I'm pretty sure it was 79. So let's do a little math on that. I mean, I was 12 when I got it. And I think he's 12 now, or 11. He's 11 or 12 that I gave it to him. But I was 12. So that makes that literally, 47 years old? Is my math right there? Yeah. I kept that thing. And I have the baseball from that year too. Because when we were kids, one of the cool things that we would do at the end of the year is everybody would sign the baseball, you know. And I was looking at the signatures the other day. There's Kim Kalijarian, there's Joey Settle, Rob Dempsey, Brian Settle, no, Joey Settle, Brian Williams, there's another, anyways, there's names on it. It was really cool, but I still have that baseball. I still have my glove that I started playing baseball with. from 1970. I guess it had to be 76 or so when I started playing baseball. I think it was 7, 8, or 9, something like that. And I'm thinking, why? Why do I have that? And when I die, what's going to become of it? And maybe I should do the thing that's going to become of it now. I mean, that time has passed. I mean, it's fun to look at it maybe, I guess, or remember. I don't know. I don't think it is. I mean, I don't do it. It's sitting up in my closet. So it's just collecting dust in my closet. But that's the point, is there's so many things that I have like that. I mean, if you take a look around this shop, like I got this weight set here. And I got that because I was hoping my kids would use it more. I know they want to join gyms and stuff like that. It's expensive. So I figure if I put the expense out here, plus I want to get in shape, to be fair. So I bought this, it's nice. I imagine when I croak that one of my sons or son-in-laws, or maybe my daughter, I don't know, might want that. But as I look like down below me and I see my backpack, like, maybe not so much that they'd want that. My daughter has mentioned wanting one of my guitars that I've had for a long, long, long time. But my other guitars, I don't know, they'll probably sell them. There's nobody playing guitars, and much as every musician parent, I guess, would want for their kids to be musicians, they aren't all. I mean, Megan's great at piano. She was. I don't know if she's been playing at all or thinking about it. Lainey's great at piano. Then it kind of stops. And then there's a Jesse who is amazing at piano and every other instrument he tries to pick up. So all my stuff, like I've got right here, I've got an amp. I've got equipment everywhere around me. And my wife is really big into the what's it called? No, decluttering. Decluttering movement. Like if she doesn't wear a shirt for a while, gone. But I grew up in a day and age where and that's like my dad, it's like you keep everything that you buy. And my dad, my kid, he's kind of the butt of many jokes for my kids. And one time, and I'm gonna throw this one out there. It's kind of funny. One time, Christian borrowed a saw, and he forgot he had it, but my dad didn't. My dad remembers every little thing about that kind of stuff, and he's like, "Well, hey, when's Christian gonna give me that saw back?" And Christian's like, "Oh," and so I snuck over there one night, and I put it back where it goes, and I told my dad, I was like, "He's pretty sure he put it back a long time ago." And I called my dad back. And it's funny to me. It's probably not funny to anybody else, but it's funny to me. I called my dad back. I said, "So did you ever find that saw?" He goes, Yeah. He was right there. I don't know. But he had been doing some things too recently. One day we were out in this shop right here, and I was showing him something. I think it had to do with, I think I had my golf net up. And my dad bought me for one of my birthdays a ball speed detector. And so you can hit a golf ball and it would show you the speed. So I think that we were out here doing that. But we came out here and he opened the door and he goes, "Flippity, flippity." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Flippity, flippity, flippity, flippity." I'm like, "Are you okay?" He's flippity, flippity. And then he came to and he goes, "I couldn't talk." And that was probably a bad thing. I should have probably taken him to the hospital for that. But he made so light of it afterwards that I didn't, and I probably should have. But it was funny. I was laughing so hard because my dad. I don't think I've ever seen him be silly. He's done silly things, not intentionally, but just be bleep, 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 bleep like that. No, that's not him. So yeah, I was rolling on the floor on that one, and now I'm thinking back on it, I probably should have. But in any case, yeah, he's the kind of guy that remembers every little thing that he has, and his possessions are his life. And it kind of rolled over to me. I don't think my possessions are my life necessarily, but I do like having my stuff and I like taking care of it. And if someone uses it, I want it kept well. I mean, I don't care if any of my kids use any of my stuff. But bro, take care of it. That's kind of my mentality. Keep it nice, keep it new as long as you can. That's one of my dad's things. Like, it's only going to work so many times. We would be, I think it was when we lived in North Carolina, and he bought Mom a car. That was his excuse, I think, buying cars and stuff, was Mom wanted it. Mom wanted that. Just like recently, he bought the latest RV they have, which is a ridiculous RV. And they already had a ridiculously nice RV, but he traded it in because Mom wanted this one. Yeah, Mom never wanted anything especially as nice as that, where she's going to say, let's go out and do that. The only thing she ever wanted was a house. I remember she wanted to live, after they had been gone for several years in the RV all over the country, she wanted a house. But anyway, back to my story. My dad bought my mom a car. It was like a 76 Ford Elite. You know, at the time it was really nice. I mean, it was sweet looking, I have to say. It was blue, 2-door, white leather interior. And I'm sitting in the front seat, and it's got electric windows. And I'm like, dee, 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 dee. My dad, I could see steam just rising in his head. He's like getting so mad because I'm like, Mike, that's only going to work so many times, and it's going to get broken. It's like, whoa, okay, didn't touch it anymore, you know. But that's one of those memories you make that kind of stick with you and help shape you as an individual, I guess, because, you know, I'm the same way. People turning on and off lights, I'm like, hey, you know, I kind of feel it in my bones. If they do that in my car, I'm like, hey, you know, so I'm sure that wasn't a moment of him wanting to reach out and teach me something, but it is something that stuck, you know, like I've had mentors speaking into my life where things have stuck. What's that one saying is, when you get to your deathbed, nobody's going to say, I got it. And when you get to your deathbed, no one has ever said, if I would have only spent more time at the office. And that was one of my mentors when I was like working a lot more, making it a priority in my life over family stuff, you know. So he was really good about teaching me balance. In any case, so my dad, his stuff matters, which bled over to me a little bit. And I'm thinking, man, I need to declutter. I need to follow my wife's lead on that, and declutter some stuff. So, should we go do that? Let's go. I know the first thing I should start on. It's my closet. Let's go in there, and we are going to declutter my closet right now. I know this is going to make for a stupid video, but let's go. Oh, it's beautiful outside, and muggy, and hot, just like it is always in Arkansas. And this is my shop to my car. My wife's going to be so proud. But here we go. Let's go on inside. Hey, cat. All right. Oh, hustling. Yeah, you didn't know that this is going to be an action show, did you? All right, welcome to my closet, which is just not the neatest place. This is my point. Like this. I've worn it a couple of times, you know. But look at this. This is nuts. It's got junk. I'm just never going to wear these. Never. In fact, I don't need work pants like this anymore. And if I do, gone. You know what? This whole thing, I'm going to keep the belt, because you always can use a belt. Gone. History. Yeah, guys, I'm guilty. I don't need stuff like this. So I'm gonna go through this and clean it out. Probably play it on high speed though, you know, so you're not sitting here just watching me pull junk down that I'm not gonna wear anymore. Not that, not that. I do need stuff for this. Probably not this, not this, not this. This, this. This, this. Could always use some khakis. I'm going to keep those. Oh, feels lighter. Oh. Jeans that are too small. Thinking that one day I'll fit into them. Oh, but here's those trophies I was talking about too. Well, not the one that I gave Bennett, but here's mine from the Rocket Derby, 4th place, 1977. Dude, I was 10 years old. 49 years I've kept this thing. Here's my this trophy. The placard came off. It was from 1976. I was 9, and it was winning 1st place in our Little League team because I stood out in right field and didn't know what I was doing. So I got this. Here's, yeah, 1979 Giants. Yeah, this is the ball I was talking about. I may keep that. Let's see. Scott Bailey, Tony Robinson. Some of it's worn off. Davey. But Kim Kalijanian, she signed it real big right across the middle. She thought of that. Alan Dukes. There's Rob Dempsey. James L. There's Brian W. Yeah, so anyway, these are gone. So I don't know, guys. Yeah, this will stick around for a minute. It's at least useful as a baseball. My kids play baseball. See how I justified that to keep it? But that's kind of the thing I'm talking about. Step 1, you know? Get rid of the junk. Get rid of the bad things that I've learned or kept from my childhood, you know? And I'm not saying it's bad to keep all your stuff, and I think you get that. But it is bad to overkeep. Let's see, and this is the RV I'm talking about. It's an amazing RV. It's just sitting there. My dad's afraid to drive it. I think he owes over 200 grand on that thing. It's just ridiculously wasteful. And I think that's where it kind of leads us in life, guys, is wasteful. Like, look at this. Here's another example of wastefulness. I spent a lot of money, a lot of time. Let's see if it'll keep up with me here. Come on now. There we go. Look at all those discs. 3 rows. 1, because they're all back behind here too. Something's got to change in that area of my life. Well, thanks for going with me. Clean out my closet a little bit, and hopefully that's day 1 and task 1 of, you know, decluttering, making it so my kids, after I croak, don't have to do too much. And maybe the stuff that's left will be something that'll be helpful and handy to them, or at least worth money. You know, my old clothes aren't going to be worth money to anybody. Those discs, not either. I've got a couple of kids that play, but Nobody really likes disc golf in the family. I might leave my pickleball paddle to somebody because that's nice, real nice. But I don't know. I guess that's the point of this video series too. Is I've got so much clutter in my head, and maybe so many things that I didn't explain right to my kids, you know, or even about family to the kids. And maybe as they raise their kids, they won't be, you know, that's another thing. I've got a little bit of time. When you think you know so much, or think you're smarter than everybody else, and I think that was one of my main flaws, and probably still is and you know, one of my pastors, ex-pastors, but he still communicates with me, Les Heath, great guy. We were having a conversation, a serious conversation about changes in the church or something like that. And he was asking me questions and things, and I had mentioned something. I said, well, you know, getting rid of the organ, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, blah, 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 you know, me, talking like Brian Regan always says, you know, me, my, I have these great ideas. Yeah, that was me. And he goes, you know, not every idea Mike Taggart has is always the best idea. I'm so glad he said that. And it's, you know, it's funny, is like, I knew that, but I came across as like, this is it, brah. You got to do this, brava. You got to do what I said because I know the best. You know, I really came across, and probably still do come across like that. I don't know if it's confidence or I don't even know what you call it, arrogance maybe. I don't feel like I'm trying to be arrogant with it. I'm not trying to prove I'm better than someone else or anything. But, you know, my whole career, you know, I've always felt like I knew what to do. And I did the thing. And I advanced in my career nicely. And so that kind of just reinforced that, man, maybe Mike knows what he's talking about. Even though a lot of it is just a gut check guess, you know, like I don't have the schooling. I don't have the credentials, if you will. I have now experience, but I didn't even, when I was doing that, I was like, well, this should work. The people who developed this app or, you know, considered this solution must have considered this in order to come up with that. And I've, you know, analytical mind, I guess, is how I kind of justify it maybe. I don't even know if justify is the right word. But yeah, so I don't always have the right ideas, but I thought I did. And I know I don't want my kids to think like that. And I know they do because of me. Because of how I maybe was so sure of myself or something. I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe it's genetic. But I know that that's not something that I would want to pass on to my kids. Kind of like the trash I just decluttered from my closet. You want the good stuff to remain, and you want the good stuff to be the things that the kids remember. You want the good stuff to be the things that help them shape their lives so that they can add on to that with their goodness and the stuff that they find out. And that's the hard part, is you can't do everything for your kids, and you can't force in memories like we try to as parents. I mean, we did a lot of good, fun things for our kids that maybe I wasn't even interested in, like camping. Like, who the heck would ever want to go camping? That's the dumbest thing ever. I'll go a trail hike. I don't mind a trail hike. But why are we sleeping out where it's hot? Why are we fighting bugs all day long? Why are, you know, there's so many things of that. But we did it for the memories for the kids, that they would remember us doing things together. They don't. I mean, they might, but it's not a thing that shapes their future their future versions of themselves, you know. I guess it could a little bit, but it hasn't in our case. It's not like our kids are, oh yeah, Dad, remember when we went camping? That meant so much to me. In fact, one time we went day camping, and that is the worst nightmare of my kids' lives. Because when, here's Here's why. It's because when dads take their kids somewhere, they are on duty. They are on duty to protect. They are on duty to have their kids not offend other people. They are on duty to make sure they don't get hurt. They're on duty to make sure they don't get abducted or hit by a car or break something. Or, it's an endless thing that's kind of going, which makes a fun thing unfun for a dad because they're on duty. And going day camping one time just apparently ruined my kids' lives to some degree. But the whole thing, we were doing something for them, It's so hard. It's so hard. And I want to just tell my kids, if they ever watch this, I'm sorry. I know I messed up a lot. I mean, I didn't know it then, to be honest. Here's the thing, and I've thought this many times. I'm not sorry for when I was trying to correct. I'm sorry in what manner I tried to correct. At least now. I mean, I may discover something that was like, maybe I did it at the wrong time. Maybe that might come someday. But as of right now, the Mike Taggart's perfect idea is he did it the wrong way, although it was the right time. Yeah, I felt like I acted when I needed to act for the most part. I didn't neglect things. I feel like I'm a good actor, but not maybe acting in the right way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like one time I screamed at my son in the car for taking himself out of a soccer game. Unbelievable how infuriating that was to see him. Because like I said, he was really good. He's really good at soccer. He still is. But I mean, for his age then, he was on track and I'm not just saying that because he's my son. I have other sons I don't think could do that. But this one, I have a few that I think have been professional athletes in some way, but they've all chosen different directions, which is fine. I'm not criticizing, but I'm saying that, I don't feel like I'm being too partial when I say that he was really good in soccer. I feel like it's just, any case, I don't know why I'm getting wrapped up on that, but in fact, I got so wrapped up on that, trying to explain that, I forgot what the heck I was talking about. So, in any case, oh no, I do remember now. I lost my temper pulling himself out of the game. It's because the coaches for fun leagues, they just get caught up in the game too. They don't realize who's on the bench, what needs to change. They're like, go left, do right, take a shot, bad luck. Whatever. So if you get pulled out, a lot of times you're neglected. If you're standing there until someone's like huffing and puffing and you see a major performance shift, then you're like, wait, do we need to sub somebody in? Or, if you're playing in a public league, you're like, oh, wait, everybody needs to get X amount of time in, that kind of thing. And you're like trying to throw people in at the end of the game. And I didn't want that to happen to him. I didn't want him to ever pull himself out of something where he's a major contributor, a major factor in success for what he's involved in. But I did it so wrong. Yeah, sorry about that, Christian. That was wrong. I don't think I was wrong for what I was saying or what I wanted to cast upon you, or the wisdom that I wanted you to pick up. Definitely delivery was way out there. So that's the decluttering. Guys, be thinking about the things that are important in life, like your kids, like my kids, my grandkids, my wife, my faith, my job, my future, my health, that kind of thing. think about those things and not the clutter your mind with stupid crap. Things that don't matter and won't last. So I learned from my parents, and that's kind of what this session was supposed to be about, and I made it about me again, being stupid, but was about who my parents really were and how they affected my life and how I affected my kids' lives. And I feel like I didn't do that well, but I think it turned into a direction that I needed it to go. So anyway, that's a long time of me babbling about a bunch of nothing. And I don't know, again, I'm pretty sure I love everybody who is watching this video. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Oh, a quick update on something else. Scatterbrain stuff. I have been faithful to working out since my birthday. I got up, that's the third day in a row, got up, I walked 1.5 miles, did some lightweight stuff, and I'm trying to develop so I don't, kill myself, die of all. That would suck, is like coming in here, I'm trying to maintain my health, and I'm like lying there dead on the ground because I couldn't get, anyway. But yeah, so I have been good at keeping that up. So I'm on the road to 60 is looking up so far. Anyways, I love y'all. God bless. Peace.